camping trip. It was early October, cold enough at night to see your breath, but not freezing. The kind of weather that makes bonfires feel better, coffee taste stronger, and the woods look darker once the sun goes down. There were 4 of us total: me, my cousin Tyler, his friend Mason, and Mason's girlfriend Jenna. The trip was Tyler's idea. He said he knew a campground about 3 hours north, deep in the forest, far enough from the city that there'd be no traffic, no crowds, and no cell service. He said that last part like it was a selling point. At the time, I didn't think much of it. We left around noon in Tyler's truck with too much gear, too many snacks, and the same playlist repeating for most of the drive. By the time we got off the highway, the road had narrowed to 2 lanes, then 1, then finally a gravel road winding between endless trees. I remember noticing how empty everything felt. No houses, no gas stations, no signs except the occasional weathered marker nailed to a post. By the time we reached the campground entrance, the sun was already lowering behind the trees. The place looked older than I expected. Not abandoned, but close to it. There was a wooden sign with peeling paint, a gravel lot, and a small ranger station cabin with 1 porch light on. Only 2 other cars were parked there. "That's it?" Jenna asked from the back seat. Tyler grinned. "That's the point." We got out, stretched, and started unloading gear. The air smelled like pine, wet dirt, and smoke from someone's fire somewhere deeper in the woods. A few minutes later, the ranger came out of the station. He looked like he was in his 60s, maybe older. Thin, gray beard, dark green jacket, flashlight clipped to his belt. He didn't smile when he walked up, which I noticed immediately. Most campground people either act friendly or act annoyed. He acted neither. Just serious. "You staying overnight?" he asked. Tyler nodded. 2 nights. The ranger looked at all 4 of us, then at the tree line behind us. "Site 14 is open," he said. "Back trail, 1/4 mile in." He handed Tyler a paper map and then, before turning away, he said something strange. "You hear somebody outside your tent after dark, do not answer." None of us said anything for a second. Mason laughed first. "What, like bears?" The ranger didn't laugh back. "I'm serious," he said. "Well, if you hear someone call your name from outside your tent at night, you stay inside. Don't unzip the flap. Don't respond. Don't shine a light out." Jenna looked at me and smiled awkwardly like this was some local joke. Tyler said, "What if it's another camper?" The ranger held his gaze for a second too long. "Then they can wait until morning." That was the end of it. He walked back to the station without another word. As soon as he was out of earshot, Mason laughed again. "Well, that's not creepy at all," Tyler shrugged. "Probably just trying to scare people." But I remember looking toward the trees behind the station and not feeling like it was a joke. We loaded our gear and followed the trail to Site 14. It was farther in than I expected. The gravel path narrowed into a dirt trail, and the trees got denser the deeper we went. And by the time we reached the campsite, the last light of day was already fading through the branches. The site itself was decent. Fire pit, 2 wooden benches, flat ground for tents, and a small clearing surrounded on all sides by forest. There were no other campsites visible from ours. No voices. No nearby lanterns. Just trees. We set up fast, mostly because none of us wanted to be fumbling with tent poles in the dark. Tyler and Mason handled the larger tent while Jenna and I unpacked the cooler, stacked firewood, and got the lantern going. For a while, everything felt normal again. We made hot dogs over the fire, opened beers, told stupid stories, and made fun of Mason for bringing an expensive camping knife he clearly didn't know how to use. The fire helped. So did the noise. As long as we were talking, laughing, moving around, the woods just felt like woods. But the second there was a pause in conversation, I noticed how silent everything else was. No insects, no owls, no rustling from small animals. Just the fire popping and the occasional wind moving through the tops of the trees. At one point, Jenna noticed it too. "Is it weird that I don't hear anything?" she asked. Tyler looked around. "What do you mean?" "Anything," she said. "It's like dead quiet out there." Mason smirked. You're just thinking about what the ranger said. She probably was. The truth is, so was I. Around 10:30, the fire had burned lower and the cold started settling in hard. Tyler wanted to stay up longer, but Jenna was tired, and honestly, I was too. We cleaned up the food, sealed the cooler, and made sure nothing scented stayed out. Before we turned in, Tyler checked his phone out of habit and held it up. No signal, he said. Obviously,
all right, listen up.
Mason replied.
Strange rule is
just saying.
No one leaves the tents after
the lantern
midnight,
got
no
switched off.
Stay
the fire
inside.
was reduced to dull orange coals. And suddenly the dark
Listen
around
close.
the campsite
There's
felt
something
much
dangerous
bigger
in these
than
woods
before.
tonight. Whatever
I
you
crawled
do,
into
stay
the
together
smaller
and
tent
don't
with
go
Jenna.
near the trees.
Through the fabric walls, I could hear
watching us
Tyler
right
and
now.
Mason still talking quietly in the other tent for another few minutes. Then even that stopped. After that, there was nothing. Just cold air, sleeping bags, and a level of silence that felt unnatural. I must have drifted off eventually because the next thing I remember is waking up with no idea what time it was. At first, I didn't know why I was awake. Then I heard it. Footsteps. Slow footsteps moving around the outside of our tent. I held my breath and listened. Crunch. Pause. Crunch. Not animal sounds. Not random movement in the woods. These were deliberate. Slow. Like someone walking carefully around the campsite. Jenna was still asleep beside me, or at least I thought she was, until she whispered, barely audible. Are you awake? Yeah, I whispered back. The footsteps stopped. For a few seconds there was complete silence again. Then from somewhere just beyond the tent came a voice. A man's voice. Low. Calm. Tyler? Every muscle in my body tightened instantly. It had come from outside. Close. Too close. The voice repeated a little louder this time. Tyler, come help me. Jenna grabbed my wrist so hard it hurt. I stared at the tent wall, barely breathing. The voice sounded normal. That was the worst part. Not distorted. Not ghostly. Just a regular man standing in the dark outside our campsite. Then I heard movement from Tyler and Mason's tent across from us.
Are you okay?
A zipper shifted slightly. My heart nearly stopped.
Get back. I'm closing.
And then, from outside again, the voice changed.
It's sealed.
Now
Are
it
you
said,
okay?
very softly, I know you're awake. Just silence again. Jenna's hand was still gripping my wrist inside the sleeping bag. I could feel her shaking slightly. Don't move, she whispered. I nodded, even though she couldn't see it. Across the campsite, Tyler and Mason's tent was completely still now. No zipper, no voices. They had heard it too. For a moment, I wondered if maybe this really was another camper. Someone lost in the woods looking for help. But then something strange happened. The voice spoke again. This time it didn't say Tyler's name. It said mine. Leah. My stomach dropped. I hadn't spoken out loud. None of us had. Leah, the voice repeated softly. Can you come outside for a second? The words sounded calm, friendly even. But something about the way they were said made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Jenna squeezed my arm harder. That's not real, she whispered. The voice moved again. Slow footsteps circling the tents. Crunch, crunch. Then it stopped right beside Tyler and Mason's tent. Tyler, the voice said again. A long pause followed. Then we heard something that made my chest
Stay
tighten.
inside your tents!
The tent zipper moving. Just a little. Not fully opening, but enough that someone inside was touching it. Tyler, don't, I whispered under my breath. But he couldn't hear me. Then Mason's voice came from inside their tent. Quiet, nervous. Dude, you hear that? Yeah, Tyler whispered. It might be someone from another campsite. No, Mason said quickly. Remember what the ranger said. The voice outside spoke again immediately, or almost like it had been listening to their conversation. I got lost, it said. Its tone sounded different now. More
Stay in your
impatient.
tents!
Please just open the tent. The footsteps shifted again, moving slowly around their tent. Then we heard something else. Another voice, from deeper in the woods. Faint, but clear. Tyler. I felt Jenna freeze beside me.
Help. Is
That's the
anyone
ranger,
there? I
she
need
whispered.
help.
It did sound like
Please,
the ranger.
I can't see. It's
The
so
same
dark
rough
out
voice
here.
we heard earlier at the station.
Help me.
Tyler, the distant voice called again.
Tyler,
Stay in
don't.
your tents.
Don't
My
open
heart
the
started
zipper.
racing.
There's something
But the man
out there.
outside our campsite laughed.
What is it?
A quiet laugh.
Just don't.
Then he said something that made my blood run
Did
cold.
you hear that?
There's nobody else out
I'm
here.
listening.
The zipper on Tyler's
sounded
tent moved
close.
again, this
Just
time a
be
little
still.
farther. I could hear Mason whispering urgently, "Or don't open it." "I just want to look," Tyler whispered back. "You're an idiot." The voice outside the tent spoke softly again. "You can check if you want."
Tyler.
My breathing had become shallow. Jenna leaned closer to me. "Don't move," she whispered again. Then suddenly something brushed against the side of our tent. Slowly, like fingers dragging across the fabric. Jenna gasped quietly. The voice was right beside us now. "Leah." The tent wall moved slightly as something leaned against it from the outside. "Come outside." My entire body locked up. I stared at the thin nylon wall inches from my face. And for a moment, I could see a shadow on the other side. A human shape. Standing there. But something about it looked wrong. The head was tilted too far. The shoulders were twisted slightly, or like the body wasn't standing naturally. The voice whispered again. "You're not supposed to ignore people." Then suddenly the voice from the woods shouted again. Louder this time. "Do not open your tents." It was definitely the ranger, and this time he sounded panicked. The shadow outside our tent froze. For a second there was silence. Then the voice right beside us whispered one last thing. Too late. Footsteps suddenly moved away from our tent. Fast, circling toward Tyler
Fire's
and Mason
dying
again.
down. Time to
And
pack
before
up.
anyone could
Yeah, it's getting
react,
cold.
we
I'll grab
heard the
tent.
zipper on their tent open, just a few inches, and Tyler's voice whispering, "Hello?" Outside the tent, something answered, but it didn't sound human anymore. It sounded like many voices speaking at the same time.
This
And
is the
Tyler
life, right?
screamed,
Totally.
Beats
terrified.
city life.
These
Jenna
dogs
grabbed
are
my
perfect.
arm and sat upright
Told you
in
the
the
secret
sleeping
ingredient
bag.
works.
You win.
What happened?
Best night ever.
She whispered.
Look at that. It's really
couldn't
taking
answer.
off now.
The warmth
Across
feels
the
amazing.
campsite, we heard
so
Mason
beautiful.
yelling.
Yeah, and
Zip
those
it.
sparks are
Zip
like
it.
little stars.
There
It's
was a loud
magical.
rustling
So
sound as their
peaceful out
tent
here.
flaps slammed shut again. Then, complete silence. No footsteps, no voice, nothing. The forest went dead quiet again. For several seconds, none of us spoke. Then Mason's voice came from inside their tent, shaking. "Tyler, what did you see?" Tyler didn't answer right away. When
Hand
he
me the
finally
next
did,
pull
his
section.
voice sounded completely
Got it.
different,
This bag's heavy.
like he was trying not to panic.
Thanks. How
It
many
was
bags
standing
left?
right there.
Okay,
Who?
I'm almost
Mason
done here.
asked. I don't know." Another pause. Then Tyler said something that made my stomach twist. It looked like a person, but its face was wrong. Jenna squeezed my wrist again. "What does that mean?" Mason asked. Tyler whispered. It was smiling, but its mouth was too wide. A cold wave ran through my
What did
chest.
he mean, don't leave the light?
Then we heard something moving
I don't
again,
know. Sounded like a
but
threat.
not near the tents, farther
Maybe
away,
it's just a prank.
out in the trees.
I don't think
Branches
so.
snapping,
He seems serious.
leaves crunching,
Listen
like
up,
someone
everyone.
walking slowly
This is
through the
important.
forest around us.
The rule is simple. No one
Then the
leaves the
ranger's
light
voice
after
came again.
dark.
Closer now.
The forest is pitch black.
Stay
You
inside
will
your
get
tents.
lost. Is that clear?
I heard a flashlight clicking somewhere between the trees. The moving sounds stopped immediately. For a moment, there was nothing but the wind moving through the branches. Then the ranger appeared at the edge of the campsite. We could see the beam of his flashlight moving across the ground. "Is everyone still inside?" he called quietly. Tyler
All right, we're
answered
here.
immediately.
Let's get set up.
"Yeah."
It's
Good,
so
the
cold.
ranger
I'm
said.
freezing.
I'll get
He
the
walked
tent from the
closer
back.
to our tents,
I'll help.
shining the
Let's get the
flashlight
cooler,
around
too.
the clearing. "What did you see?" he asked. Tyler hesitated. "Something that looked like a guy." The ranger sighed. "That's what it does." My heart skipped. "What does that mean?" Mason asked. The ranger lowered his voice. "That thing out here copies voices." The words hung in the cold air. "It listens to people during the day," he continued. "Campers, hikers, rangers. And then at night, it tries to get someone to come outside." Jenna whispered from beside me. "What happens if someone does?" The ranger didn't answer for a few seconds, and then he said quietly, "No one's ever come back to tell us." None of us moved. The ranger walked slowly around the campsite, scanning the tree line with his flashlight. "Most people follow the rule," he said, "but every few years someone thinks it's a joke." Tyler spoke again. "It knew our names." "Yes," the ranger said. "How?" "It hears everything." A cold wind passed through the trees. Then suddenly the ranger's flashlight stopped moving. He froze. "What?" Mason asked. The ranger didn't answer. Slowly, very slowly, he pointed the flashlight deeper into the woods. All four of us stared through the tent openings.
Stakes are
At
out.
first,
Let's
I
get this
didn't
tent
see
down.
anything.
Almost
Just
done.
trees.
This bag is being stubborn.
Darkness,
Got the poles?
branches.
Yeah, it was fun, but
Then
time
the
to go.
light caught
All
something
set.
between
Let's
two
move.
trunks. A shape. Standing completely still. About 20 yards away. A human figure. But the way it stood looked wrong. Its arms hung too low.
Listen close.
Its head leaned
There's
sideways.
something dangerous in these woods tonight.
And when the flashlight hit its
Whatever
face,
you do, stay together and don't go
it
near
smiled.
the trees.
the exact
It's
same
watching us
wide
right
smile
now.
Tyler had described.
Listen close.
The ranger whispered,
There's something dangerous in these woods
"Don't
tonight.
move."
Whatever you do,
The thing
stay
didn't
together
step
and
closer.
don't go near the trees.
It just stood there.
It's watching us
watching
right
us.
now.
Then
Listen
suddenly,
close. There's something
spoke
dangerous
again.
in these woods tonight.
but this time it
Whatever
used
you
the
do,
ranger's
stay
voice.
together and don't go near the trees.
Stay inside your tents.
It's watching us right
My
now.
blood ran cold. The ranger immediately turned off his flashlight. Darkness swallowed the campsite. "Everyone stay down," he whispered. No one moved. No one spoke. For a full minute, the forest stayed completely silent. Then we heard footsteps again. But this time they were moving away. Slow. Crunch, crunch, deeper into the woods. After a while, the ranger turned the flashlight back on. The trees were empty again. The shape was gone. The ranger let out a slow breath. "It's leaving." None of us slept the rest of that night. At sunrise, we packed everything as fast as possible and left the campground. Before we drove away, Tyler stopped at the ranger station. The ranger stood on the porch watching us load the truck. Tyler asked one last question. "What exactly is that thing?" The ranger looked at the forest behind us. Then he said quietly, "No one knows." We drove away and didn't stop until we hit the highway
Get back!
again.
I'm closing it.
None of us talked
Hurry!
about the
It's
trip
coming
much after
closer!
that.
It's sealed!
But about a week
Are you
later,
okay?
Tyler texted me something strange. He sent me a photo. It was taken from his apartment window late at night. Outside in the parking lot, under a streetlight, there was a person standing beside his truck. The figure was too far away to see clearly. But one detail was obvious. The person was smiling. And Tyler's message under the photo said, "I think it followed us."